GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, Montreal. We're starting with less setters and the Environment Ministry moving quickly on emergency sewage measures. While a brief storm knocked down trees in the north and left some power out, expect heavy traffic with several road closures. Pastamore, the beloved family-run Italian spot, closes after 4 decades. Over to you, Jeff.
The Milan Street Fair opens today, running through Sunday, showcasing over 50 local artisans, live folk music stages, and a pop-up food court offering vegan and gluten-free options.
The fair's central promenade features a community mural project where visitors can add brushstrokes, scheduled to begin at noon and continue until dusk each day.
A Saturday morning kids workshop offers free pottery lessons hosted by the local arts center, limited to 30 participants who register on a first-come, first-served basis.
With the street fair buzzing and the mural ready for new colors, lots to get to, let's begin, and families gathering around the food court. Good morning, Montreal.
Les Setters officials and the Quebec Ministry of Environment announced today that emergency measures are being implemented to stop the discharge of untreated sewage into a local stream. The action comes after a law press investigation 3 weeks ago exposed 6 months of raw wastewater being dumped by the small town, affecting roughly 500 residents. Under the new plan, the municipality will install temporary treatment units and divert flow while permanent infrastructure is secured, a process expected to take 6 months to complete. Provincial engineers will monitor water quality daily and enforce compliance throughout the remediation period. The ministry said the swift response is essential to protect public health and the ecosystem. Residents will be kept informed as the emergency protocol proceeds. The Joint Task Force will review progress weekly, and the emergency response team will oversee implementation until the stream meets safety standards.
Police responded to a 2-vehicle crash in the Onzhoo district Friday evening, reporting 2 drivers injured, 1 in serious condition. Emergency crews extracted the occupants and took the seriously hurt driver to a nearby hospital for advanced care, while the other driver was taken to a local center for observation. Investigators said the collision occurred on a busy arterial road during peak traffic, though the exact cause remains under review. This incident adds to the growing tally of road accidents officials cite as a persistent safety challenge across the island. The Sûreté du Québec Traffic Unit opened a formal investigation, gathering witness statements and examining the scene for possible factors such as speed or impairment. Officials also highlighted recent data indicating a rise in evening collisions on the island's main thoroughfares.
The 16th Montreal Comic-Con kicked off on Sunday and will run through Tuesday, turning the convention center into a bustling hub for sci-fi, comic book, and gaming fans. Attendees this weekend can line up for autograph sessions, photo ops and panels with a roster of actors, writers, and creators who have been promoted as the event's star-studded draw. Organizers say the 3-day schedule includes everything from vintage comic swaps to esports tournaments, reflecting the convention's evolution since its debut a decade and a half ago. With more than 100 vendors and dozens of interactive experiences, the show continues to cement its place as the province's premier pop culture gathering. Visitors are already reporting long lines at the main stage, where surprise guest appearances have sparked lively crowds and quick-turn merchandise sales.
Yesterday evening, a mass email from Rossmere High School was inadvertently sent to a wide list of parents, exposing names, telephone numbers, and home addresses. The school board confirmed that the message contained sensitive personal details of dozens of families and was distributed through the district's electronic mailing system. Officials said the error occurred during routine communication and that the email was quickly retracted, though the data had already been seen by recipients. An internal review has been launched to determine how the breach happened and to assess the board's data security protocols. Parents have been urged to monitor their accounts for any unusual activity, while the board works with privacy experts to strengthen safeguards. The incident has sparked broader concerns about the handling of personal information across schools in the province.
Just before lunch on June 18, 2 male students ages 14 and 15 entered the parking lot of École Secondaire aux Millevoies in Montreal, North Quebec. They displayed a toy machine gun and fired at close range toward fellow students and staff members. The discharge triggered immediate panic among pupils and school personnel. The adolescents fled the scene on foot before police arrived. Police officers arrived within minutes and secured the area. Authorities are reviewing security footage and have begun an investigation into the incident. No injuries have been reported, and the toy weapon is being identified as a replica. The incident is being treated as a criminal act involving a replica firearm. School officials said classes were suspended for the remainder of the day while the campus was cleared.
Later we'll hear how a judge temporarily halted Montreal's revocation of AIM recycling permits. A key local story, stay tuned, we will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back, I hope you're feeling refreshed. Let's dive into today's headlines, then Jeff Laflamme will bring you the local stories.
The north side of the city was hit by a brief but violent thunderstorm Thursday evening. In roughly 5 minutes, intense rain and powerful gusts felled a number of mature trees across several residential streets. Downed limbs crashed onto roadways and rooftops, prompting power outages for a handful of households and blocking access to a few side streets. Emergency crews arrived early Friday, deploying chainsaws and trucks to begin clearing the debris. Officials noted that the combination of heavy downpours and sudden high winds made the storm unusually destructive for such a short duration. Residents were advised to stay clear of downed power lines while workers worked through the day to restore normal traffic flow. The cleanup effort is expected to continue through the weekend as crews address remaining hazards.
On Sunday, a provincial judge issued a temporary suspension of the city's move to strip American Iron and Metal of its operating permits for the East Montreal metal recycling plant. The order blocks the revocation while the court reviews the case, leaving the facility functional for now. City officials had argued the plant failed to meet regulatory standards, prompting the revocation request, but the judge said the company deserves a pause pending further evidence. The dispute has grown in recent weeks, with both sides trading legal filings and public statements. Residents near the industrial zone will continue to hear the plant's operations until a final ruling is made, and the municipal council must decide its next legal steps. The suspension remains in effect as the matter proceeds through the courts and could shape future recycling policy.
Yesterday, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island and British Columbia mobilized crews and firefighting assets to bolster Quebec's Wildfire Prevention and Suppression Agency as flames scorch multiple forested areas. The interprovincial assistance includes seasoned firefighters, aerial water bombers, and ground support vehicles, supplementing Quebec's own resources that are stretched thin by a surge in blazes. Provincial officials say the collaborative response aims to contain hotspots before they threaten nearby communities and critical infrastructure. The combined effort remains underway, with additional personnel rotating in over the coming days. While the exact number of fires has not been disclosed, the scale of the outbreak has prompted this unprecedented out-of-province support. Residents in affected zones are advised to stay alert to evacuation orders and air quality advisories as crews work to bring the situation under control.
Hydro-Quebec crews are working around the clock to bring electricity back to roughly 20,000 households after yesterday's severe thunderstorms knocked out service across the city. The storm sparked widespread outages, leaving many families without lights, heat, and the ability to run essential appliances. Technicians have deployed mobile units and aerial crews, focusing first on neighborhoods with the longest blackouts. Residents in affected blocks report that power is returning in stages, with some homes already seeing lights flicker back on while others remain in the dark. In the downtown core, crews arrived with high-reach trucks to clear lines, while outlying districts rely on portable generators for hospitals and schools. The utility says safety checks are being performed before re-energizing lines to prevent further incidents. Officials estimate that full restoration could take several more days, urging patience as crews continue their round-the-clock effort.
More than 2,000 Quebec households are still without a lease or a home after the province's July 1st moving day, and the situation remains ongoing. The annual moving day, when renters traditionally secure new tenancies, left thousands on the street, exposing the depth of the rental affordability crisis. Housing advocates note that the construction of additional apartments has not translated into affordable options for many families. They point to stagnant wages and rising rents as factors that keep new units out of reach for low-income renters. The lack of stable housing forces affected families to rely on temporary shelters, friends' couches, or to forego basic expenses. As the province continues to grapple with supply-side measures, the immediate need for affordable rentals persists, affecting daily life for those still searching for a place to call home.
Let's get a look at your afternoon forecast with our meteorologist today. A westward jet stream is pushing drier air across the province, suppressing rain and sharpening temperature gradients. The all-time high for July 4th in Montreal sits at 34.2 degrees, recorded during the unprecedented heat wave of 2018.
That summer saw a persistent ridge of high pressure that locked warm air over the city for weeks. The record low, 13.1 degrees, fell in 2021 when an Arctic trough slipped unusually far south, delivering a brief but sharp cold snap. By comparison, the climatological average for today is a high of 26 and a low of 19 degrees, a modest swing from the extremes. The live radar screen is completely blank across southern Quebec, with no echo returning from the St. Lawrence Basin. That silence confirms a dry, stable air mass moving westward under the fast jet stream. With pressure rising and no upstream disturbances, precipitation is unlikely to develop before the evening. As I turn from the radar, the picture shifts to today's temperature and wind profile. At noon, the city sits under a thick layer of mid-level clouds, temperature 25 degrees, humidity around 66%, and a gentle west wind at 12 kilometers per hour, gusting to 23. Pressure is rising, signaling drier air pushing in from the west. The jet stream above us streams at 165 kilometers per hour, reinforcing the westward flow and keeping the atmosphere stable. With the ridge aloft, sunshine will break through later this afternoon, nudging the temperature up to 27 by 3 p.m. The UV index climbs to 8, indicating strong solar intensity. Evening will clear further, delivering a clear sky around 7 p.m. and a comfortable low of 16. No weather alerts are in effect as we move toward the weekend. Tomorrow, Sunday, will climb to a high of 28 degrees with a low of 15, and the sky will stay clear from dawn to dusk. Monday brings a further jump to a high of 30 degrees and a low of 19, under a persistent high-pressure dome that keeps clouds at bay. Tuesday repeats the 30-degree peak, but the low edges up to 20 as the air remains dry and sunny. By Wednesday, the ridge begins to wobble, holding the high at 30 while the sky turns overcast and the low holds at 20, hinting at a slow cooling trend. Thursday, the overcast persists, the high stays at 30, the low rises to 23, and a 20% rain chance sneaks in, marking the first measurable chance of precipitation this week. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic's heavy with road closures, Comic-Con kicks off a star-studded weekend, and Habs off-season moves are heating up. Stay with us, we will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
La Fontaine Tunnel remains closed, forcing traffic onto the southern approach of Autoroute 15. Drivers must divert onto Rue Saint-Joseph and then onto Boulevard St. Laurent, adding roughly 15 minutes during peak. Barrie Street between St. Catherine and Ontario is also shut, with STM bus routes shortened and detoured onto Rue Saint-Denis and Rue St. Laurent. St. Urbain Street overpass is under renovation, reducing the east-west flow on Rue St. Urbain to a single lane. Expect delays of 10 to 15 minutes. Pi Roman 9 Boulevard runs with one lane each direction, creating moderate bottlenecks near Villeray. O'Brien Street is blocked at Henry Bourassa for water main work. Traffic can reroute via La Jeunesse. Cité des Jeunes Boulevard is closed between de la Gare and Henry Ford for a roundabout, diverting commuters onto Autoroute 6. Papineau-H Leblanc Bridge on Highway 19 operates with 2 lanes each direction, but nighttime lane closures continue. Highway 20 at Harwood and Bellemare sees lane reductions and a reduced speed limit. Flow remains steady but slower than usual.
Weird Al Yankovic will take the stage for a free outdoor concert at Place des Festivals as part of Just for Laughs on July 25. It's a rare chance to hear the king of parody live without a ticket, and the summer vibe will be perfect for a lunch break outing. Bring a blanket and let these sing-along classics fill the park. If you're staying in town now, step into the world of Cirque du Soleil at the Echo Photo Exhibition inside Time Out Market, Montreal. The images capture the behind-the-scenes magic that fuels the circus, giving you a fresh perspective on the performers you love. Free to wander, you can snap a quick photo between appointments. Also kicking off its monthly run, Les Premiers Vendredi Street Food Festival lights up various corners of the city this weekend. From global flavors to live music, it turns the streets into a tasting adventure you can wander through between meetings. Tacos, poutine twists, and sweet crepes make a quick bite. Keep an eye on the calendar, more summer surprises are just around the corner. And now here's Jason with sports.
Here's the latest on Montreal's hockey headlines as the off-season heats up. Montreal Canadiens confront a shrinking market of off-season targets, with the pool of viable players drying up quickly. Core contracts remain long-term, while staggered expirations and flexible no-trade clauses limit maneuverability, and forward Michael Hage is set to join Michigan after his injury. Montreal Canadiens have secured goaltender Jacob Dobish on a 3-year extension, tying him to the club through the 2029 to 2030 season. The deal arrives just one day after the organization added forward Ivan Demidov, reinforcing the roster ahead of the upcoming campaign. Montreal Canadiens have moved veteran forward Brendan Gallagher to the Vancouver Canucks, receiving future considerations in return. The transaction marks a notable shift in the Habs' forward depth as the club continues to reshape its roster during the off-season.
Pastamore in Dollard des Ormeaux has been a staple of the community for more than 4 decades. Founded in 1981 by Mario and Maria Novity, the family-run eatery built its reputation on hand-rolled pastas, rich sauces, and a warm, bustling dining room that felt like an extension of the Novity home. The restaurant will close its doors on June 14th, marking the end of an era for the neighborhood. The family isn't disappearing, though. They're moving the kitchen online, selling their signature pasta and sauces so loyal fans can still taste the tradition at home. Pastamore has fed generations of locals, turning ordinary meals into shared memories. It's a reminder that the flavor of a neighborhood lives long after a sign comes down. And now a heartwarming farewell as Pastamore, the beloved family-run Italian spot in DDO, closes its doors after 4 wonderful decades.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From city hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMna for the local sunset, Montreal's evening newscast.
Montreal's Festival International de Jazz wraps up today, turning the Place des Festivals into a buzzing, world-class music hub with thousands of fans packing free outdoor concerts on the final day. Organizers say attendance hit a new record, and headline acts delivered electrifying sets that left the crowd roaring. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks CJ Waterhouse. The summer sun hangs low over Place des Festivals, the concrete awash in a sea of umbrellas and glowing string lights, while the scent of fresh pretzels mixes with the distant echo of saxophones. Hundreds of fans spill onto the cobblestones, clutching program sheets that list more than 350 performances from the 46th Festival International de Jazz de Montreal. Stages pulse with rhythm as 3,000 artists from 30-plus countries trade solos, their music spilling into cafes and storefronts. 2/3 of the concerts are free, turning downtown into an open-air concert hall where families, tourists, and street vendors share a moment of collective applause. The young violinist from the Plateau watches the headline act, eyes wide, realizing that this festival is her passport to a world of sound. The final day cements the festival's record-breaking run, proving that jazz can still turn a city into a living, breathing orchestra. Carl Dumont virtually at Place des Festivals.
On St. Laurent Boulevard in the heart of the Myland, families, retirees, and students gathered beneath a canopy of twinkling string lights at the community garden that doubles as a neighborhood meeting spot. They were there to hear Hydro-Quebec's proposal to raise residential electricity rates for the top 5% of users, those who consume more than 35,000 kilowatt-hours a year. The announcement sparked a surprising surge of optimism. Local volunteers rolled out a solar panel fundraiser, and a group of teenage engineers set up a small wind turbine beside the old oak tree, its blades humming softly as the evening breeze passed. At a nearby bakery, the scent of fresh rye mingled with the laughter of children painting a mural that reads "Power and Community." In just 2 weeks, the block reported a 10% drop in consumption, enough to keep the proposed hike from affecting any of them. The moment the meter blinked lower felt like a shared victory, proof that collective action can rewrite a policy narrative. It's a reminder that when we look out for each other, the lights stay on for everyone.
On a crisp Tuesday morning at the historic Maison St. Gabriel in the heart of Little Burgundy, a modest gathering of conservationists, indigenous leaders and government officials took their seats around a wooden table that had once hosted community meals. Quebec's environment minister, accompanied by her federal counterpart, arrived with a folder of papers and a modest smile, while a group of local volunteers unfurled a banner reading "Caribou Futures." The discussion moved quickly from statistics about shrinking herds to a concrete plan, a joint funding agreement that will channel $3 million over the next 5 years into habitat restoration, predator management, and community-led monitoring. The vivid moment arrived when a teenage student, who had grown up hearing the call of the woodland caribou, stepped forward to hand the ministers a hand-drawn map of a reclaimed wetland, pointing to a spot where a new protective fence would soon rise. The room responded with quiet applause, a reminder that policy can be anchored in the hopes of a single child. It's a small but tangible step toward ensuring those iconic animals have a place in the forests of Quebec for generations to come.
Thanks, Montreal, for joining us on the lunch break. Today's look at the emergency steps between Les Setters and the Quebec Environment Ministry highlighted the city's swift action on a critical issue. We'll be back tomorrow with more of the stories that matter to you. See you then.